Boop. Hello, it's Rich here. Ooh, scary close-up. That's not good. I've put the brightness up a little bit on my very, very expensive high-tech iPhone SE, so we can see the amp a little bit better. Now, there are a number of reviews on this, some really good ones actually on YouTube. This is not one of those, by the way, but you know, if you're just a regular dude looking for an amp, really, really impressed with this. It's 15 watts, sounds a lot louder than that. You know, I recently had my Vox AV15 amp, way louder than that and much more rich in sound. The thing I like about this, and if you've followed me and subscribed for a little while, thank you by the way, you'll know that I'm not that smart, and therefore I like simple things, and this is nice and simple. Over here, just about might be able to make that out, I don't know, you've got a couple of clean channels, a crunch, a super crunch, and 2 overdrive channels. Over here, you've got your gain, and here you've got the volume. There's also master volume over here as well, which is nice to have. On the equalization, you've got a bass and a treble. Somebody in one of the comments is saying that if you press and hold something or another, which I forget now, you can get a mid as well. But Blackstar, their ISF, infinite shape function, I think they call that. Basically, what they're saying is on one side it sounds like American, and the other side it sounds like British. I don't know what that really means, but it gives you some more tonal options. The interesting thing on this amp here is you've got these valve simulators. So the different valves you've got here, and Tom the Guitar Tech, hi Tom the Guitar Tech, he said they actually do a pretty reasonable job because he's a valve player of emulating them. It's a KT88, a 6L6, a KT66, excuse my head, EL34, a 6V6 and an EL84. So you've got all these different sort of models of valves. And what you also get, and I know a few manufacturers do this, on the top here, it tells you what your amp does. So it's just nice and simple here. So if you choose your voice here, you've got your EQ, as loud as valve, and then it's telling you here, it's a bit shiny, the different valves sounds. And what's nice down here as well, look, they've actually given you a bit of a description. So just for example here, high headroom at the top, compressed spongy at the bottom. So what they're saying is the KT88, they describe it as tight, bold, dynamic, class AB with strong low end. And then KT66, again, just for example, rich and warm, vintage British, hot, biased, class AB. So they're kind of telling you what sort of sounds you can get out of them, which is great. And you move along here, and with a lot of Blackstar amps, they're all the same, but lots of them are like this, certainly the ones I've had. You've got your effects, we've got reverb, delay, and modulation here. So you select it with this little knob. So number 1, there's a range here on this little scoop of how much of the modulation you get before it pops into the next category. And on the top here, it tells you what those ones are. So the modulation effects, you've got a phaser, flanger, chorus, and tremolo. On the delay, you've got linear, analog, tape, and multi. And on reverb or reverb, you've got room, hall, spring, and plate. So you can play with each of those as well. With the different valve options here, you can have that off altogether, and don't do that, which is nice to do as well. You've got additional functionality. And then across the front here, you've got, we'll just put that back on the top. Come on, OCD, just slip that in there. But it's got a nice handle on this as well, sort of a chunky, sturdy handle. It weighs about 13 kilos, this amp. Yes, on here you've got your presets. So if I went into manual mode and I made some adjustments on here, I would then just go into, say, channel 1, for example. It flashes, and then when you press and hold it, it saves it for you. And you can do the same with all 4 here. Go back to manual for a second. And you've changed, if you press and hold bank here, that goes to green, you've got another 4. So now 80 presets, press and hold, yellow, you've got another 4. So you've got 12 easy to get to presets on here. And through the Blackstar software for it as well, you've got far more options of what you can do, and you can save it. It's got a little USB here, you can save it. So yes, so play around, do what you like, save some presets, bring them back up really easily, which is great. The Footswitch which I have got is here. Hello, Mr. Footswitch. So if I just go back to manual for a second, here, and then I press my bank button, I'm going to press and hold here and go down again. Oops, sorry. This mode button lights up and it tells me at the moment that I'm on the yellow bank of patches. So this is 1, 2, 3 and 4 on the banks, which correspond to these. So if I press that one, you can see it's moved to channel 2. This one moved to channel 3, and this one has moved to channel 4. So whatever's saved in here, I have had a little tinker around with this, but there are lots and lots saved in here. But there are actually 128 different ones. So when you go through your, what's the next colour on here? I think I'll press this button here to go up. So I've gone to red bank, and then if I press this one, I think it goes down, yellow, down again, maybe, yep, green bank. When you go down another one, you get to number 128, so there's lots of them that are stored in the computer. So I haven't sussed out exactly that yet, but I'll have a look. But pretty easy. And then here, so at the moment I'm on patch mode. If I press the selector button, I'll go down to this mode here, which is the chorus and reverb and so on. So these correspond, I think this, so at the moment it's on reverb, so that will be the 1, 2 and 3, the 4 different types of reverb. Which one of these do I need to press? Forget now. And then you can get the modulation and the delay up as well. So you've either got change your patches, or if you've got a sound that you like, then you can just add your different effects in as well. So yeah, early days having a little play with this. It's the FS-10 Footswitch, but it seems pretty intuitive, and I've actually taken my few little pedals off the floor now, which I was using, my Behringer Overdrive and my Harley Benton Plexicon off, because I'm going to set this up so that I've got some cleans and some noisy ones. So if I'm having a little play along on clean and I want to bust out a solo, woo, then I can just press my button on the Footswitch and bash out myself a solo on a crunchy kind of sound. So that's just a point that back down there on the floor. That's just a quick run through of what the amp's all about. You'll have heard it a little bit in a couple of demos that have just come up recently, but it's got a 10-inch speaker in here, but for 15 watts it's got a nice decent amount of low end, so it doesn't sound hollow and shallow or sort of boxy or too mid-rangey. It sounds, I don't know, it sounds a bit more like a 12-inch speaker, I suppose. It's got a bit more oomph. It's a lot louder than you'd think a 15 watt can be, and even at low volumes it sounds good. So lots of functionality. I bought this used for £85 with the Footswitch here in the UK. Now that's a bargain, because some of them on Marketplace and eBay and so on with Footswitch from more like 150, 120, 130, those sorts of prices. Some people even wanting more than £100 just for the amp. But that said, I think if you want something that's pretty simple, it's well worth it. And have a look at some of the other reviews. There's one guy who's done one for, spent about half an hour on it, going through all sorts of stuff, really in depth, and it's fantastic. There's a 30 watt version, a 60 watt version. So if you're someone who plays in pubs or gigs or something with it, I imagine the 30 watt. I mean, this is probably loud enough if you're just in a pub having a play on your own, but 30 watt certainly would be, and the 60 definitely loud enough for gigging. So yeah, there we go. It's the Blackstar ID15 TVP, True Valve what? TVP, True Valve Power.